So the video that I'm thinking of recording has to do more with the stuff, the enlightening moments that I've had while I was being sick, while I was dying. I want to share that with peeps, but like I don't really have complete thoughts
Yeah.
on it.
Who needs complete thoughts?
All right, well, here it goes.
Rafi's Rambles, Rafi's Rambles, Rafi's Rambles.
Hey guys, so it's been a while since I have recorded any kind of video or decided to put anything out there. And honestly, it's because I have been down and out. By down and out, I mean that I got pretty sick and then stayed sick for quite some time.
Yeah, and I don't do videos. So a handful of you have asked, how come we don't see more of Klee working on jewelry at the bench? And actually, you've been asking for many years, and I've just been pretending like I didn't hear you ask. The first reason is I get so, I'm not used to it, right? So I'm distracted. Even if I'm not paying attention to the camera, I'm distracted. Well, that went horribly wrong because I had the... And my other thing is I want it to be an enjoyable experience for you guys, and I'm not sure if this camera can actually see the jewelry that I'm working on because it's tiny. So in reality, I can't see the jewelry that I'm working on without this. So I don't know. I filmed today and Rafi will be looking at the footage. Maybe he can get in there and get you guys a good view, or maybe I need to seek out a macro lens situation. This is how you told me to do my vlogging.
I mean,
hey guys.
Yeah, there you go.
I have something really exciting to share with you.
I have a macro lens.
I have a macro lens and I just washed my face. Here it is. I'm gonna try to do more of the filming of me making jewelry.
So what is this all about? Why am I doing this video, coming back? First off, I want to tell you guys, hey, I've missed you. Second thing that I wanted to tell you guys is that hustle culture, workaholism, all that stuff is a complete pile of bullshit. So I think I want to do a video about what we've been experiencing lately. I'm not sure what direction it's going to go, but I do know that it's about reevaluating, basically having fun instead of hustling all the time.
I like fun and I don't like hustling.
Hustling is no fun. It's been a while since I've been in the studio because I haven't been feeling well. I've been laying out on the couch thinking about life and thinking about the fact that maybe I'm a workaholic. And obviously being laid out on the couch for 2 months has really showed me that maybe I need to dial it back a little bit. So long story short, I got sick and basically nobody could figure out what it was, but apparently I had some kind of bacterial infection that just knocked me out for quite some time. I don't remember how much time, but
2 months.
2 months. Yeah, I was knocked out for 2 months. Needless to say that during that time, not much art or honestly anything else was being done because Klee was actually doing everything that she could. And
yeah, and I don't do paintings.
I am used to always being on top of everything and checking email and all the different stuff that I manage for our business. And what was happening is during the stints where I was awake, I was panicking that I was not getting enough done, that I was letting people down. There was no jumping right back into my, what I like to call my, I'm not going to call it workaholism. I'll call it,
You can call it what you want, but you just said the word. When your survival's tied to your creativity, that's bad news bears. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
Because once you start thinking about making the money and surviving, all the creative parts of your brain take a hike. And then you're like, I'm going to make this because it's going to be a good seller. And then you burn out, right? So we all kind of know that pattern. We don't even need to spend that much time on it. A-holes in your brain jar that are like, well, you should be recording right now and you should be producing good work. You should be recording yourself producing good work and making good...
Basically, you shit on yourself.
All the shareholders that are like...
All the shareholders are shitting on you?
Yeah. Where's our profit margins? Rafi and Klee or fellow creatives. And you're like, this is no good. And then you get sick. And then you have time to think about things. And you're like, this is no good. So you try to start from scratch. but all the board members and shareholders are still there.
They're still
waiting
there.
for you.
If there's one thing that you guys have heard me repeat time and time again is remember why you started doing what you started doing, whether it's art or music or anything like that. Remember why it was that you started doing it. You didn't start doing it because you wanted to build a business. You didn't start doing it because you wanted to make money. You started to do it because either A, it was a form of expression, or it's just something that you had to do, right? A lot of us have that feeling where it's like, this is just something that I cannot not do.
Like while you were sick and even before you were sick, we were doing stuff. It's not like we weren't doing stuff, but I found us like not recording the stuff we were doing or having conversations that were like, yeah, but maybe that's just not that interesting.
It's not just YouTube.
Right.
It's like everything becomes way too complicated when filming. Everything becomes way too complicated when creating art because you have these shareholders that are like, this is how it's supposed to be, or we got to make this much money, or like, you got to have this kind of reputation because if you don't have this reputation, then if everything falls apart. And essentially what you're doing is running around trying to keep this illusion together.
And then you get frustrated because who wants to work under those conditions? And then your frustration usually turns to anger. And then you try to create, but you can't create from that place because you're not in the creative space.
Yeah.
You're thinking with your, I don't know what to call them.
And then you have the thought of like, I'm just not creative anymore. I'm just struggling.
I've lost it, man. It's gone.
Which stresses you out even more. And then you're in this loop where
And
you're
then,
like,
yeah, your shareholders are like, where's our videos? Where's our paintings? Where's our jewelry? How long has it been since you've produced a song? And you're like, leave me alone.
you gotta hustle to move forward. You gotta hustle to do great things. I'm like, no, you don't.
I had a choice earlier this week between getting my blood drawn or working on music. And I chose the blood draw. And on the way back from that in the car, I was like, it's true. I would rather go to the dentist or give blood right now than
work on music.
Than work on music.
Then work on this thing that you love.
What is that? Well, it's years and years of angst and making it overly complicated.
It's great to be able to support yourself with your art. But when it becomes the main focus, when it becomes the main outcome, that's where things get a little bit sketchy in your brain, right? Because then suddenly your motivation goes from, I want to create art, I want to put it out there maybe, I want to express myself, to like, I want to make money.
And I hear you out there, I hear you all that are like, yeah, Rafi and Klee, but how are we supposed to pay our bills?
There's so much focus on that. And it's
know.
like, I get it, because if you have bills and you got to pay it, you're going to stress out. And unfortunately, being stressed out puts you in survival mode. And if you're in survival mode, your creativity suffers and you burn out. And it's like, unfortunately, the only way to do it, the way that we try to do it,
is to not care.
And it's really hard. That's a hard message to get across and tell people, well, just don't care if you don't pay your bills. And like, that's ridiculous. But at the same time, man, you got to figure out a way to just feel that sense of security without it there, because that sense of security is going to allow you to be creative.
And produce awesome work that probably people will want.
Yeah. Money.
How do I do that? Yeah. I don't know, man. However you can. We've been figuring that out for like 17 years.
And we've been doing it. For me, the biggest thing that I've taken from this getting sick thing, more is not better.
Right. More isn't more.
More isn't more. I know that a lot of you guys out there have experiences where you have a lot of ideas and you're like, you want to do them all. And you just feel overwhelmed by the fact that you have a lot going on. We trick ourselves in all these ways of like stressing out about stuff. And the most unproductive thing you could do for your creativity is stress out about things. Certain portions of your brain, when you are stressed out, shut down, and those are the creative parts of your brain. Reel it back. You basically tell yourself, okay, I am going to be able to focus on one thing at a time, right? Because multitasking does not exist. Despite anybody out there telling you, I'm really good at multitasking. Working less, not working so hard. And realizing that hustle culture mentality that I have in my brain is counterproductive. Even though I hate hustle culture, you gotta hustle to move forward. You gotta hustle to do great things.
Well, here's the interesting thing, right? That's a BS feedback loop is what that is. Because when you're feeling burned out and you're not feeling creative, you try to do the busy work to still feel like you have some semblance of control over your career,
Right.
which burns you out even further, burns your creative circuits out, and then you feel the need to do more busy work.
It's like using the analytical mind to try and control the creativity. And we all know that you can't control creatives.
Yeah.
Creating artwork or expressing yourself in your writing or expressing yourself in your music or expressing yourself verbally. Instead of it just being this thing that comes from you, all of a sudden you have all these rigid rules that go behind how it is that you're supposed to do it. This is how you're supposed to be an artist. You're supposed to use these materials. You're supposed to use them a certain way. They gotta look a certain way. And not only that, but they have to be responded to in a certain way. You're taking other people's opinions into the equation, and you make everything so much stressful for yourself in the studio instead of just creating for yourself. I've actually been avoiding getting into the studio. And the reality is the best thing to do is pick one thing, the thing that you're most excited about, and get started on that, and don't worry about the rest. It's the same thing with the videos, right? So instead of just freely recording a video, all the garbage, all the algorithm, the analytics, the thinking about how many times a week you post and what's relevant and what's not relevant, what does your audience want, what do people not want to hear, what is the way that you're supposed to do a video, should it be the hook first and then this and then this, and like, all of these things have made it so much more complicated.
Well, I need to come back with a bang and it needs to be awesome. And even in thinking about like, what is this first really awkward video going to be about? And I was like, well, why don't you just talk about all these things that you're feeling right now? But your knee-jerk response was like, but that's not a complete thought.
I know.
And I was like, why does it need to be a complete thought? When have you ever had a complete thought on YouTube to begin with?
I know. But it was this thing where it's like, well, it's got to be epic, and I need to have something powerful to say, and this is not powerful because I'm still trying to figure it out.
Or like, I don't film at the bench because I don't have the appropriate camera gear, when like really like I'm just fumbling through stuff and maybe I'm not comfortable showing that process all the time. Mm-hmm. Or like, I don't want you to hear my ugly takes of song making. I only want you to hear the beautiful finished product. When like we're like really good at being vulnerable to an extent, but like we don't want to show our work.
Right.
How we got there. We want to explain how we got there, but this is like real time. We don't know WTF we're doing. And actually, maybe I don't want you to see me make mistakes, but actually it's okay. Like, I'm really okay with that. I think it's just that I have it in my head that I make mistakes that I wouldn't normally make because the camera's on. And I think the solution to that is me just getting used to having the camera on.
All of this stuff that makes it so much more complicated versus like, we love our YouTube fam.
Yep.
I don't even want to say like I'm back or anything like that, because if you guys have been watching me, you know that there's several videos where I'm back. Really what I want to say is like, I am reinvestigating the love and the joy that I have, not only for doing these YouTube videos, but for the art, for all the things that I love expressing, all the ways that I love expressing myself, essentially getting back to that playfulness. Having fun creating and having fun putting yourself out there and having fun doing the things, that's sustainable. And that, not only that, but like it feeds you. It doesn't drain you. Like that is sustainable. Whereas like trying to achieve this or trying to make money, that's draining. I'm definitely not saying don't make money. What I'm saying is don't let that be the thing that pulled the rope that pulls you, because it's gonna drag you all over the place.
It's gonna drag you through poo.
It's gonna drag you.
That was the weirdest, most ineloquent way to say that.
It's gonna drag
you through some poo.
Unless it is play, you're wasting any chances of success. Doing YouTube and doing well on YouTube, or doing well in our art career, or anything that we've done, experiences that we've had, have come because we have been playing. I am done living a life where I feel like I'm running through a maze all the time. And like I'm never keeping up. Like I'm always running behind. And I'm thinking to myself, like I'm looking at my life and I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like There's no freaking way. So my solution is I'm going to write a book about it, because that means that I'm going to be in the trenches studying this stuff for the next year and a half.
The trenches of fun.
The trenches of fun. The trenches of like dealing with my insecurities that are going to rise up as I'm telling myself, you know what? The solution is to work less. Like, that's insane. Never going to get it all done. You're always going to have multiple projects pop into your mind. I think it's easy for us to get trapped in that idea that we got to be grown-ups and we have to take everything really seriously. But the whole reason that I wanted to do art instead of live in the corporate world like I was doing was because I wanted to spend the rest of my life being playful. I wanted to spend the rest of my life being playful, having fun, and living life to the fullest. That is the reality of it. It wasn't even like I want to be an artist or I want to be this or I want to. Those are just things that I do. I just wanted to live life to the fullest. The act of filming this and thinking that I get to share something with you actually brings joy to my heart. And that's the reason that I started doing the YouTube in the first place, was because I wanted to share what I was experiencing, the things that I was doing. And if it can somehow connect with you and maybe you're dealing with something similar and you're thinking about similar things, then maybe you won't feel so alone and know there's someone else out there that is thinking about these things. Thank you guys so much for your well wishes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to end this thing. It's been so long since I filmed one of these, but either way, thank you so much for watching if I post this and if you're watching this. And just know I absolutely adore you. I miss reading your comments and stuff. And yeah, I adore you guys. All right, I will talk to you later. Adios. So let's be done.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good
You want
day.
to say goodbye?
Good day. Good day.